I remember it just like yesterday. I woke up, shook my head, took out my journal, and started writing. I couldn't believe that the video that you're watching was going to somehow write itself in these pages of my journal. And I started thinking about two movies. I started thinking about the movie Us, and I started thinking about the movie WALL-E. That's right, the little short circuit little guy. And I started thinking about these movies just from my memory. I was trying to recollect all the images and all the meanings and concepts and just the overall story, the narrative. And I started finding some similarities that were a bit intertwined. And you might be thinking, well, how? How is the movie WALL-E and the movie Us? Well, how can they possibly be connected? In what shape or form? Well, today I'm going to share my thesis, and hopefully one day it will morph into some sort of movie theory. So I'm going to break this down. Very simple. I'm going to do one movie at a time, and then somehow I'm going to connect them. The question is, are you willing to come down the rabbit hole with me? Now, if you remember correctly, the movie Us has some tropes or some themes in which you may be familiar with from your memory. There was the whole hands across America imagery throughout the whole movie. And there was also the idea of doppelgangers, or clones, which I'll get into a little later in this video, and also a fun house of mirrors. So these are the three things I'm going to be focusing on from Us. So let's take care of one by one. First off, hands across America. Isn't it interesting how in that movie, everyone was holding hands across America, across the nation, right? I almost found it very eerily similar to the lines in which we have outside waiting to get groceries or waiting to do anything 6 feet apart. In this sense, we're not holding hands, but we're somehow united. And it just reminded me of the movie. The second thing I want to talk about is the fun house, which appears twice in the movie if you're paying attention. Once in the very beginning at the beach. Well, actually, they were at the same beach, just in different times. Okay, one of them is called Vision Quest, and the other one is called Merlin's Forest. Now, both of them have a subtitle that says, Find Yourself, with a little arrow pointing towards its entrance. Now, if you remember, our protagonist walks through that fun house of mirrors and is switched, which we learn later on in the movie, which is her doppelganger. Okay, the protagonist is actually the villain, turns out. And the villain is actually our hero, vice versa. Very interesting. This clones element, this doppelganger, these copies. And I couldn't help wonder that very morning that maybe this was just a metaphor for our cell phones, how we see our reflections in the screen. Therefore, that's our doppelgangers. It's almost the mask that we put on when we go onto social media or surf the web. It's basically another version of ourselves. We are living in a digital world. And I couldn't help but think that those two were somehow connected. Now, I might be in the deep end of the pool here, but it's just food for thought. In some twisted reality, these are clones. Now, are clones real? Are we cloning people physically in some sort of lab? I'm sure it's been done. Has it been done to attract billions of eyes onto its project? Probably not. I mean, we do have proof that we cloned animals. Would it be that much harder to clone a human? Or has it been something that's been done secretly to avoid any public detection, and also to stay away from an ethics war? Because once you start cloning people, what's the rules for that? Who gets to make up those rules? And whoever is making the rules, who's obeying them? That's my big question. Will it be you? Last point I want to make about Us is that these scenes are both the beginning and the end are on beaches. And I just find it hilarious that maybe deep down inside there's a connection to the whole Corona piece, right? If you know the beer and you know their slogan, find your beach, could it have been Jordan Peele's way of foretelling the future? I don't know, but it's a hell of a coincidence, isn't it? For a Hollywood movie to just have all these little elements inside of it. Well done, by the way. I don't know. It's just food for thought. Now, if Us is the precursor to COVID-19, then WALL-E is the part that happens after COVID-19 or during COVID-19, right? If you remember correctly, WALL-E's all by himself. He's probably the most human entity on Earth. Why? Because he's empathetic. He's friends with a cockroach. He collects tons of shit. If you don't remember the movie. And you can find him looking back into time at these old Disney films, how nostalgic it is and how things were great back then. People danced and sung. Meanwhile, he's in isolation, like most of us now. Okay? He's somehow connecting to this past world of how things used to be, which is not far-fetched from what we've been doing with our Instagram post about posting pictures from the summertime and looking back with nostalgia. Now moving forward, right? What happens if WALL-E keeps eating the way he's eating and eventually he turns into one of those large people that he sees on the spaceship. And they're all glued into their screens and everything's okay. They're basically drones at this point connected to this matrix of some sort. And that's where it gets crazy. This whole COVID-19 stuff is conditioning us to be more comfortable at home. Now, Austin, you might be thinking, come on, man, that's a far stretch. Come on, man. It's like a serious thing. People got to stay indoors. Yada, yada. We like to party. Right? I get that. I'm totally down for that. But there's people who are wicked out there. You know that, right? You know that for every good person, there's a wicked person out there. Right? You know that. You know a wicked person is going to see this opportunity and exploit it. Right? And if you're aware of how things are moving, you'll know that everything's moving more technological world. It's been happening since the dawn of man. Right? Nothing new. This is part of our species evolution, right? This is our relationship to technology. But what happens when that technology is one? What if we are becoming little by little cyborgs? I mean, we already are. We have the phone in our pockets half the time. They're in our hands. We're onto these devices. Devices talk to us. Don't you think in the future we're going to be more morphed into these entities? Have you not seen these real-looking robots having full live debates on TV? Well, if you haven't, you should check it out. Who's to say they're not cloning us for artificial intelligence? Am I making this up? Is there no science to back this? Don't you think wicked people out there want something like that? Don't you see them looking down upon the human race and wishing it was better? Wishing it was less of us? You don't think that? What do I know? Jack squat. Okay? I don't know nothing. But I get this feeling deep down in my gut Okay? That something's up. Something is up. Something is up or something's down. Okay? But I know it has to do with us. And I know Wally, right, is just an electronic wall. Okay? It's like email, electronic mail. Wally is a wall that's electric. Is that far-fetched too? Yes, it is. I know. I'm just being sarcastic here. But I'm just saying, wall of people across the nation in lines. It's just a thesis. Is it a strong one? I'll let you be the judge of that. But food for thought.
Not so fast! Not so fast! I'll have to give the matter a little thought. Go away and come back tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Oh, but I want to go home now.
You've had plenty of time already.
Yeah. Do not arouse the wrath of the great and powerful Oz. I said come back tomorrow.
If you were really great and powerful, you'd keep your promises.
Do you presume to criticize the great Oz? You ungrateful creatures think yourselves lucky that I'm giving you audience tomorrow instead of 20 years from now.
Oh.
The great Oz has spoken.
Oh.
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. The great Oz has spoken.
Who are you?
It's me, Billy!
I don't believe you.
No, I'm afraid it's true. There's no other wizard except me.
You humbug!
Yes, it's exactly so. I'm a humbug.
Oh, you're a very bad man.
Oh, no, my dear. I'm a very good man. I'm just a very bad wizard.
You have a device or a gadget in your pocket that's either a tool or a toy. And the thing that signifies, I guess, the space or the timeline of a human being, if you use a phone and there's more tool as you go along, then that's proper use of your gadget and comprehension of your gadget before the gadget ends up running you.
That's right.
So you got to manage the machine. You can't master the machine.
Right.
Because these situations are set up for these machines and gadgets to pretty much not be a portal for you, but you a portal for them.
Right.
And consumption is the thing that comes through it. So I tell young people all the time, you got a computer in your pocket. It's not just a toy, it's a tool. But you got to kind of manifest and learn some things in order to use it right, just like any machine, like any